How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to What Remains of Edith Finch Part 3. I think this will be the last episode in the series because this game is about 2.5 hours long, I think, and I've been going for about an hour 30-ish, so we should be able to squeeze the rest of the game into this episode. But wow, it's been a ride so far. It's been a ride. It's been a lot of things, but it's been sad. It's been mainly sad I feel really bad for poor Edie here, having to walk through the house she grew up in and discover what became of all of her family members. This is one unlucky family. The Finch family is definitely a cursed family, I would say. But it's at the same time, like, as sad as it's been and as calamitous as it's been really cool to jump into the Finch family tree and pick apart all the different members of the family and learn about their lives and what became of them. But it's just like I said before, it sucks for poor Edie to have to walk through this this massive house, going into all these different rooms and seeing what became of your family. It's looking like there are no Finches left, actually. I think it looks like Edie, who we are in the game, is the last left of the Finches, but we don't know that for sure yet because I remember Milton, her brother, his body was never found, so that maybe something can happen there. I don't know. But yeah, it's been a lot of things, but I'm ready to find out how it ends. I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going to take me now on this last little chapter. So without further ado, let's jump back into What Remains of Edith Finch, Part 3. Let's go. Okay. So, just trying to remember where we were real quick. So we just saw Dawn's dad, Sam. Wait, was his name Sam? Yeah, Sam. Sam's dad just died. He just got killed by the deer. Just got knocked off a cliff by the twitching dead deer. Calm as a bitch, you might say. I think, yeah, we're going this way, aren't we? We're going this way. Into yet another crawl space. This house is just a maze of crawl spaces.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Can say that again. There's been so much loss in this family. Nothing but loss, really. Yeah, Pac-Man. It's a weird place to keep a divorce contract in a crib. Sam Finch. So this is Kay's divorce to Sam.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
That's the same frog we saw in Edie's bathroom, I think. Whoa, what's going on with this music? Oh. And now with a frog.
Bartend's over, Gregory. It's time to...
Oh, really? I was having fun.
Hold on, sweetie. Hello?
Oh, yeah. We're back. More bath time. Woo.
Sam, I told you I don't want to talk
Oh.
right now.
I wonder what he saw.
He was tripping out. Oh. What is going on here, man?
He reminded me so much of Calvin.
Oh, and by the way,
Lost in his imagination.
the way he made the ducks and frogs dance in the bath, was that reminiscent of Calvin?
Whatever it was, he saw.
This is crazy.
It sure made him happy.
Oh, I was trying to flip the whale up the right way around. There you go. Whoa, whoa. Sorry, I'm having way too much fun here. Just this is taking me back to when I used to sit in the bath as a kid. I used to have rubber duck just like that, and I'd be sitting there with like my Action Man, rubber duck, just chilling, you know, just like this. Very nostalgic. Oh my god. It's like the frog is the life and soul of the party here. He's just like,
I know
come
how
join
silly
me.
It sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
Oh, it's still the frog. I need to get up to that. There we go.
I wish he could have told us.
And it all
about
starts
the world
again.
he saw. Hey, there's so much I don't understand.
Oh
About Gregory.
no, I know where this is going.
About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Oh man, it's just like when it's a baby, it's, you know, it's just another level of, you know, it really hits you even more so than all the others. I think they did an amazing job there. You know, we went from that sweet, blissful childhood innocence into just this really tragic moment just like that, and it's excuse me, and that's just what this game has been so far for me. It's just been you know, blissful ignorance into tragic event, and it's, you know, it seems to be a repetitive theme that's been going on so far, and it just hits you that little bit harder every time, it seems.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet
She did.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
This is a
I
really
tried
cool
to
way.
talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I remember.
This is such a cool way of introducing dialogue. Really, really cool.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger.
There it is.
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power, but all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
Goes 10.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Oh man, yeah, that was really cool. In just the way the dialogue was introduced there with the kite and just flipping the letters over. I thought that was awesome. Poor Gus. So Gus died in a storm flying his kite, I suppose. Oh man, it just gets worse for this family, doesn't it? It's just unluckiest family in the world. If you think your family's unlucky, just take a look at the Finches. I mean, come on, it doesn't get much worse than this. Okay. Little schedule going on here. Greg, be a baby. Be a baby, Greg. That's it. Good baby. House rules. No playing outside without permission. No answering door for strangers. No messes after dark. Yeah, no messes after dark. All chores before dark. Respect others. Did you respect others, Greg? Not Greg, rather Sam. Oh, see, he has a light switch for Gus, Dawn, and Gregory. So you run like a really tight ship. And then so Dawn, obviously, so they're all kids at the time. In this was their childhood bedroom. Sam being a very dominant, controlling father, and just controlling every aspect of their life, by the looks of it, from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to sleep. Oh, a little rock wall.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Bible.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Lewis was born a year later.
Okay, so Lewis was, so this is Edie's brother, so he's the first child of Dawn and Sanjay.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Little herb garden for each child.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
So we're gonna find out what happened to Milton? Guess so. Really into his art.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Very cool. Must have been a nightmare to make.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Yeah. So is that all we're gonna get on Milton then? So we just get like a little flick book summing up that he just vanished one day. Man. So we really just we don't know what happened to him. It's a mystery. I don't think there's anything else we can do up here.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Yeah, so I'm starting to see what's going on with all the door sealing. You know, it's kind of like a metaphorical shutting them out, maybe almost, of life. It's just like, that's it. They're gone. I don't ever want to go in this room again because it's gonna make those memories start flooding back. So maybe she was doing it to protect herself. You know, because it was Edith, Dawn's mum, who went round sort of combating her and putting the peepholes on the doors. So yeah, it's definitely a kind of metaphor there with that.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Well, I went the wrong way.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room, until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Let's find out what happened to Lewis. It's got a little shisha going.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
I wonder what it smelled of. It's a real mystery. It's a weird logo.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
Oh wow. So we're wandering on the left stick and doing the fish with the right.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. but he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won.
Surprise, surprise.
They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Imagination.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on.
It's just growing bigger and bigger across the screen.
New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen.
I can't give us the option there. Go left or right.
The queen was on her own quest for sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her
Silver harp.
silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
That was really, I just love the way this game is just so creative in the way that it tells its stories. It's just so well thought out. This must be his locker.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him. His queen waited, holding his crown.
Oh god, that guillotine. Oh man.
There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. Rest, I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Oh, God.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Okay, sorry. The blows just get worse each time. And I could see a bit of myself in Lewis there. I think that's I could see a lot of myself in him actually. So that one really cut deep. That's been the hardest one for me so far. I feel like doing a dawn and just sealing this one out.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
I don't know if I'm ready for that. Oh, I just need to take a second real quick. Because, wow. This is like, this game, it's that emotional where you have to take, I feel like I have to take a breather. I just have to sit back for a second and just mentally prepare myself, because each time there's, like I said earlier, it's just been blow after blow. Each family member each time just takes away a little part of you and Edie, obviously. I mean, because in the game, we're young Edie, who are Dawn's daughter. We're exploring this house. We're going through the entire family tree. And each time, it just gets that little bit harder every time you reach that item, whatever it is that's going to lead you into the story. It just gets that little bit more painful every time. And yeah, I think Lewis was the cherry on the cake for me, really. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know how bad this one's going to be. But you have to think that I don't even know where I was going with that thought, but I guess we should just go for it. I guess let's find out. Let's find out.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
So Edith didn't want to leave.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot.
Was it for the greater good though? That's the thing. Because she's seen what's
We
happened to her
both
other
tried
sons.
to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Oh god. Wow. Brilliant game. Brilliant game. I knew this game was sad. I didn't know it was rip your soul out and eat eat it in front of you sad. It's really powerful. Which is just why I love games like this. You know, anything with a really strong narrative I'm just so addicted to. Because it takes you on a journey, you know, it's like reading a really good book, a really good novel. I mean, creatively as well, absolute masterpiece creatively. I just absolutely love the way that it introduced its characters and the way that it shared its story of each one with you. It's one of them where even though it's sad and it makes you upset, you still don't regret playing it, because this kind of thing, this is the kind of thing that you just don't forget playing. You know, these are the games that stick with you, and these are the kind of games that come from real life experiences, no doubt. You know, Ian Dallas is the creator of this game, and bravo, sir, brilliant. Really, really amazing. But you can tell that with stories like this, there's so much real life in there, and that's what makes them so powerful and so compelling, is because it comes from someone that's lived. You know, it comes from real life experiences, I think, anyway. I mean, obviously I'm sure it's not all real life experiences, but you can always tell with stories like this that there are little bits that are kind of intertwined in there, in little bits and bobs. You know, aesthetically as well, so beautiful. The house, I mean, you know, the developer's done an absolutely incredible job at bringing that house to life. And it's, you know, it was like being young again. You know, when you're a child, you're 5, you're 6 years old, and you have there's somewhere that's completely new to you, and you're just exploring. And that's what this felt like to me. This honestly made me feel so young and innocent, you know, at times, anyway. And then obviously that your adult perspective comes in later on when you get to a point, whenever this game got to a point where we had to find out about a character. That's when the tables excuse me, the tables would turn. You know, you'd come out of that childhood mindset and you'd immediately slip into your adult one. I think it's juggled those two things really well, you know, childhood and adulthood, and it's put them together in one space, and you can see the contrast between them really, really well. Wow. But yeah, so I mean, this is the kind of thing, like, it really hits you on a lot of levels, and you're kind of going over it in your head, and you're all the little bits and bobs, especially when you get to the end and the whole story just kind of comes to you, and you're thinking about specific moments. And you know, it's why I love, and I'll never get tired of games like this, because they're not just a game, you know, they're an experience, and they're things that, you know, because it's a story, there's always going to be parts of a story that you relate to. And you know, obviously we always gravitate towards stories that we relate to. You know, some of the best books that I've ever read are the books that I can relate to the most, the books that we can see bits of ourselves in. We can see ourselves in the characters, or we can see certain events of our life in the overall story. But yeah, so what an experience, what a game. And I'm so glad that I finally got to play this, because it's been a long time that it's been like 7-8 years that I've been waiting to play this game. So yeah, I'm glad I finally got to experience it. I think I should probably play a more upbeat game next, something that's slightly happier, maybe, you know, just to kind of lift myself back up. I have no idea what I'm going to play next, to be honest. I'll have to see what there is to be on my to be played list. But yeah, I really love this, really loved it. And thank you so much for watching. If you made it to this point, this is my first ever series on the channel. Something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, because I just, you know, I do have a passion for games and gaming, and this is the reason why. Games like this is the reason why. So yeah, if you have watched the episodes all the way through and you've made it to the end, you've made it to this final episode, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You know, thank you for coming along on the ride of this game with me, and just thank you for giving me a chance, giving me some of your time to come along on the ride with me. If you like this video, please leave a like, it would be greatly appreciated, and subscribe if you'd like to stay tuned for future uploads. I've been Ryan, this has been What Remains of Edith Finch, and I'll see you in the next series. Bye for now.